SCHiM is a cute little 3D platformer about a shadow blob frog thingy that can traverse the world by hopping from shadow puddle to shadow puddle. After a sweet if slightly boring opening montage in which your host human goes from regular kid to heartbroken teen to clumsy adult, your klutzy adult host manages to somehow trip so hard that you come unglued, separating from him entirely. Which is extra bad, seeing how the devs have described SCHiMs as souls, and everything right down to the delivery truck is supposed to have one. The rest of SCHiM involves you hopping your way back to your host, but boy is he hard to pin down, never staying in one place for very long. And so you'll hop. You'll hop through the city, you'll hop through the park, you'll hop through the day, you'll hop through the dark. But no matter how far you hop, you'll always stay one step behind your host until he beats you back to his apartment for the night and you're for some reason forced to wait outside with all the other little SCHiMs until sunrise. Oh, and I guess SCHiMs value their beauty sleep because by the time you creak open your little shadow frog eyes the next morning, your host is already a mile up the road doing whatever it is he does all day. So hop to it. If you haven't already gathered by my tone, I was fairly disappointed by SCHiM's plot. It sports an interesting premise, but fails to do anything narratively compelling with it. And I found myself growing tired of the chase after your host repetition within the game's first hour. And it went on for hours after that. But maybe that's my fault. After all, SCHiM was marketed as a relaxing experience, one in which you take your time hopping your way through the cute scenery. But the problem with that is that I never really felt relaxed when playing this game. You see, old Skimmy here gets a charged jump whereby holding down the jump button longer results in a farther jump, and then he gets a little follow-up hop that only covers a few feet. These jump mechanics feel pretty good and landing a tricky series of leaps is satisfying, but if you fail to reach a new shadow in your 2 jumps, you'll warp back to your last one. That is, unless the game arbitrarily decides to send you back a dozen shadows or more, which happened to me many times because each level's checkpoints are invisible, meaning you'll always be at least slightly on edge not knowing if you're safe to experiment with a risky jump or are going to get bumped back and have to repeat a lot of hopping. Additionally, SCHiM doesn't let you zoom out much, nor does it feature any real UI, meaning the only way to know where to go is to hold down a button that will slowly pan the screen to the level's end or next checkpoint. I definitely would have preferred an unobtrusive indicator arrow that you could immediately turn on or off, because as is, SCHiM forces you to constantly pause your progress to pan across the screen to make sure you're still going the right way. The last mechanic of note in this simple game involves environmental manipulation. Certain objects like umbrellas and signs will allow you to preload a big jump over an otherwise shadowless area. You can also click buttons to open doors, raise the arms of gates that cast new shadows, or even pilot a drone. Even better, a flash of lightning might streak new shadows across the land and open up some fast twitch opportunities. I would have loved to see more of this, levels that center around a shadow gimmick of sorts, because as is, these moments of ingenuity are pretty few and far between. And I wouldn't say I ended up impressed overall by SCHiM's gameplay or content. Which leaves us with style. After making a strong immediate impression on me, SCHiM's minimalistic visuals never really evolved beyond portraying simple, albeit charming slices of life. The same could be said for the game's cute and calming electronic soundtrack and gentle sound design. But nothing here grabbed my attention, in part by design. This is meant to be a soothing game after all, so I can't really fault those stylistic decisions. What I can fault SCHiM for is skimming the surface of its fun premise. By keeping everything so surface level, SCHiM begins growing repetitive the second you start playing it, and is therefore pretty hard to recommend. Especially when there are so many other games out there that do so much more for $25. In the end, I'm giving SCHiM an aggregate mega score of 2.63 out of 5, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the game or my review. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.